of San Joaquin, go to tvosj.org.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to St. Mary's Rams Hockey. My name is Rick Pulaski. I'm your host tonight. Zach Lytle is on sabbatical like the school. They're about ready to graduate tomorrow. But we do have a special guest in the crowd. It's family night here. So I'm going to swing it around to my grandson. Introduce yourself and what you do.
Hi, everyone. I'm sure you guys see me a lot, but I'm Anthony, Big Rick's grandson.
Yeah. Do you have a last name, Anthony?
Anthony Alvarado.
Yeah.
And then to my right is my lovely grandmother.
Introduce yourself.
My name is Elena Pulaski. I'm Rick's wife.
That's not a great thing to tell people, okay?
Okay, let me take it back. I'm Anthony's grandmother.
There you go. Anthony's grandmother. So that's our guest tonight. We're going to do a little bit of conversation about the school and coming to the end of the first season of hockey. Talk to Anthony about summer hockey. We were trying to get the Eislers on. One of them, the coach, Derek, he is on his way to Southern California, and Anthony will talk a little bit more about what's going on down there in a little bit. And his wife and daughter have to stay home to study for their final exam, one of them tomorrow. Mr. Alvarado is sitting next to me. I begged him to take an hour off of his studies because he's got a science final tomorrow. That's correct? All right.
Yeah.
So here we go. Let's talk about finals, Anthony, because this is your first semester, first season, first year. I'll get it out sooner or later of St. Mary's. So talk about where you're at and what's going on and that type of thing.
Well, usually in me being a freshman, this is my freshman year, so like usually in middle school, at the end of the year, you'd have a party or you'd have like some sort of like get together, a field trip or something like that. So it's definitely different having to study for 5 hours each night to take my final exams. And I mean, I'm fortunate to say that I'm pretty happy with them. I mean, they're definitely doing a lot better than first semester. Maybe because first semester I wasn't really, I didn't know what to expect. So now I think I know I got my first semester, my first year under my belt. I know what works for me as far as like studying and getting my schoolwork done. That I know what to do.
So you've already taken how many finals?
I've taken 6 and I have one more left, and it's science. And everyone that's taken it says it's the hardest one. So.
Well, we wish you good luck tomorrow. Just study when we get done with this program. Hopefully we'll get you home and get you studied up, and tomorrow will be a good day for you. Now I'm going to switch it over to my wife, Elena, and I'm going to ask her how it is to, Anthony's been doing this, 10 years now, Aunt?
I think 11, 10,
10,
something like
11
that.
years. And now, can you just kind of walk through, I know when he first started skating, I was there too, but tell the people that are listening what your recollection is from where he started and where he is today.
Well, when he first started, he didn't know how to skate, so they had to teach him how to skate first. And at that time, I'm not sure what they use right now for them to hold on to go around the rink, but I remember him with a bunch of buckets, one inside the other, and he looked so adorable out there.
Oh,
and it was so great because he had such an interest from the very beginning. He was so focused on hockey, that it was just great to see his interest and how it's held up all these years.
Right.
How not only, I mean, he just doesn't like playing. I mean, he is full board focused on playing hockey, and he's just gotten better and better over the years. And I'm just like you, really proud of him.
Now,
It wasn't the first sport I played either.
well, that's true. It wasn't.
Oh, that's right. You played baseball
And
or
then
softball.
I played baseball, and then I think I played basketball.
Yeah, you
Oh.
did. That's
Yeah,
true.
yeah. And then, so
Yeah.
I mean, being so young and starting out, I think I never really liked the sport as much as hockey. Obviously, since it's the only sport I've ever played since
Yeah,
I was
speak
5.
up. pick up.
Sorry, it's the only sport I ever played since I was 5. So I mean, the passion has just grown, and the people around me have, like, fully supported it through everything. Driving me to and from practice to the rink, and all these trips, and all the hotels and flights, and all the expenses that go with hockey. I mean, it's been great.
Okay, so we watched him play as a mite, 8 and below. Not too much hitting there. They kind of fell over each other because they couldn't skate. Then he played squirt, and from there he started Pee Wee, and then his Bantam year was the first Czech year. Now, I've been around him a long time. I've been around the game for a while, so watching him play, and then you start hitting. I mean, I know as a grandmother, you look at it differently, but look at it from a hockey sense of and how you thought he did and how you felt when he took his first big hit.
That's one thing I was not looking forward to. I remember for the last few years before he was able to get hit, on Facebook I saw another mother with holding onto her little purse and going out on the rink to
Yell
chastise
yell at the ref. Yeah.
the coach because he had done or to the ref because he had done a bad call. And
In your opinion.
Well, in her opinion.
Oh, in her opinion.
Okay. So there she is shuffling out on the ice to, reprimand with her finger, And I kept on telling Anthony over the last few years before he was going to get hit that if anybody was going to hit him, that I was going to go out there in my little purse and take care of him. And he was quite nervous that I was really going to do that, but haven't done it yet.
I think from her, I think you had a different approach to it. I wouldn't say you were waiting for me to get hit, but it was kind of like, you're like,
Well, the only thing I ever told you is don't land the ice unless you can't move. Get up, get off to the bench, and if you're hurt, they'll deal with it there. I just think sometimes we have a lot of drama. The kids just get hit and they just lay there until the coach comes out, and I don't know if they're embarrassed or a lot of times they're not hurt. They're just embarrassed is the only word I can say. So then they come off and they're out there the very next shift. So I didn't want you to be that player, and there are players out there like that, but I wanted you to be a little more intense than that. Talk to the people, Anthony, about where you're going this weekend and what we're kind of doing through the summer, or what you're going to be doing through the summer.
So this weekend is, I'm not going to be playing for St. Mary's. I'm going to be playing for Coach Eisler, but it's spring hockey, and St. Mary's doesn't play through the spring. So every year I play for the Bay Area Blazers, which is just a bunch of kids made up of Northern California kids. And usually we go to Minnesota and LA, but this year we're only going to LA for a tournament. So we're going down there and we're playing 16U, which is different because...
And 16U means 16 years old and under.
Yeah, so just my age group and then the 2003 borns are just playing in a league together, or a tournament together. So, which is different for me because this past year I played 18s, which was... I think from 2001 to 2004. So I'm going to be playing against younger kids. The competition is probably still going to be the same, if not maybe a little bit more. So, I'm excited to get back on the ice, to have a game feeling again. And, I've just been missing it, even though we have had practices a lot, and I just got back from Vegas. I miss the game atmosphere.
Right. Different than practice is one thing, but actually getting out there in the game situations. So you'll be doing that this weekend, starting tomorrow night, right?
Yeah, I have one final in the morning from 9 to 11, and then I'm going down with another family, and we play a game at 8 or something.
In KHS, which is
in Lakewood.
Oh, Lakewood tomorrow night. So you'll be in Long Beach.
Yeah. So.
And then you play a couple. I guess most of the other games are in Anaheim at KHS.
Yeah, I think
and then Monday you finish up if you make it into the semifinal finals, you'll be playing at the Toyota Center,
Yeah.
Kings facility. So that's the first thing up. And who are the kids from St. Mary's also going to be playing in this?
We have me, Strider Davis, Kyle Lathan, Hunter Hayes, Luca Petroni, and I think that's it.
Well, we have an incoming.
Yeah, I think I don't know if he's for sure yet, but I'm pretty sure he's coming, and he's a 03 from L.A. area, Ventura area.
Hmm.
His name's Jonathan Gunn.
And also you got Boris.
Boris, yeah, he's a goalie.
He's a goalie. He'll be with us next year, and you
My
play
roommate.
with him, huh?
My roommate.
And a roommate of yours. Okay,
Roommate, yeah.
you're gonna learn Russian next year.
Yeah.
Out there to you, Boris, if you're paying attention. So it's going to be fun. You several of you, obviously 5 of you, have played together before, 4,
Mhm.
and
So
so
we
you
all know each other. Oh, and another incoming person, Sean McGurdy.
John McGurdy. Okay, so it's going to be a fun time here in your off season, which is very short because you have June and July, and you're back in school in the middle of August, I
August
believe.
9th or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But for me, it never stops for hockey. Just because it's in the off season doesn't.
And then
mean
tell us where you're going at the end of June.
into June.
End of June, Arizona.
Oh, that's
I'm-
July.
I'm-
July. It's
July, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I'm going to Arizona. There's a camp at ASU, Arizona State University, the Division I team. They always have a camp there, so I go there and just basically a bunch of top competition, top players from all around the country go, and we just play like a tournament style camp. And I mean, it gets recognition because obviously all the ASU staff is there, but I go for the experience and to see where I'm at along with other top players around the United States.
And that's
especially.
pretty much your own age group there.
No, I think it's nothing I haven't seen before because it's the same age group that I played last year. It's
Yeah.
2000 through 2004. I'm gonna be the youngest
You're the youngest.
youngest
group.
kids there. Yeah, so
That's good. And then I know you're off to
Everett,
Everett.
August 22nd or
Yeah,
something.
towards the end of August, and you'll be back in school by this.
Yeah,
by this time.
so it's a Thursday through Monday camp or something like that, and then it's for the WHL, which is the Western Hockey League, which is one of the top leagues. They get NHL players and pro players to produce there.
And they invited you to go to their camp.
Yeah, Everett Silvertips invited me to go to a camp, and it's basically I think it's a rookie camp or a main camp, and it's just a bunch of kids that have gotten drafted, future players that are going to be on the team next year, or current players that go to that camp. So it's going to be high level competition and probably some of the best players I've ever played against and with.
Fun.
Let's talk about. You just got back from Las Vegas. It was a talk about that, how you got there, and then this is one of those stories that you haven't had happen to you throughout your hockey career. You've usually been pretty successful by moving on. But talk to us a little bit about what happened down there and where you could have went.
So throughout the year, we have this thing called a select camp, and it's basically it starts out in Northern California, and you have to make basically Team NorCal, and then you go down to LA.
But they pick
They pick
how many kids and then how they pick.
they pick
and go through that.
nine forwards out of I think maybe like 50 to 70 kids that try out. Just from NorCal, and then they pick 15, I believe, from down south out of probably like 300 kids that try out, and then for just forwards, so totally probably maybe around 80 kids that go, and then so you basically have to make it out of California, and I was one of I think it was like 14 forwards to make it out of California, and 3 states compete in this thing called the Pacific District Performance Camp. And it's California, Washington, Oregon, and Alaska. So you all go there, we all get mixed upon teams, and the goal is to make it to national camp, which is all 50 states, and it's the top 250 kids from all around the
United States.
for our age group. And only the top 9 go, and unfortunately, I was not one of the kids to make it. But, for me, it was just a learning experience. Now I know where I match up against the top kids from my area, from my couple states. I wouldn't say I played to the best that I could have. Obviously, I didn't because I didn't make it. but I mean, it's all just a learning experience, and I have 3 more years to make it. So, you know, I just gotta get back and train.
So you keep going, huh?
Yeah, you know, I can't focus on it too much. I mean, I was a little bummed out I didn't make it, because obviously as a hockey player you want to make it to the top
Right. You
the
wanna
top
make it.
things. But I mean, there's not everyone makes it. There's some kids there that definitely I think should have made it, but there's only so many spots. So
Yeah. And a little bit of politics probably go in there, not because you didn't make it, but there are. I've talked to many people that have gone through this before you, and a lot of them say they're not picked prior, but there's people that they're actually looking at, and unless they do something really boneheaded, they're probably going to get picked. So I don't know if you want to call that political or not, but it boils down to 3 days of playing, and so you know you have mediocre games, and 2 out of the 3 games, you're probably not going to get picked.
you have, like, they told us that we had a dinner before the tournament or the camp actually started, and they said make sure the first game's your best game, then the second game's your best game, then the third game's your best game, then the fourth game's your best game.
Yeah.
So there's no time for error, because only 9 forwards get picked out of probably 500 kids totally that tried out.
Right.
So like you have to be like on it, like
Right
100%.
out of the gate.
Yeah, I mean, and like I know all the kids that got picked, and you know they're all you know buddies of mine, teammates that I've played with and against. So I mean, I was proud of them, but I mean, as a competitor, you know, I wanted to take their spot. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I congratulated them, but I was a little you know bummed out about it. But I mean, it is what it is. You know, I have to just
Keep going.
keep going.
Just
Always,
like
there's always next time.
there's only one. It's like in NHL. There's only one Stanley Cup winner.
Yeah. So
So you know you have a second season for that, and then you just got to try to make it and do the best you can. That being said, let's talk about St. Mary's again. Let's go back to St. Mary's and talk about how you felt the team ended up at the end of the season, and then also talk about some of the newcomers that we know are coming. And what your thought is on that, and where this team you think will be this time next year.
obviously, as a winning standpoint, we obviously didn't finish where we wanted to be. You know, a first round playoff loss is not what we wanted to happen. I mean, but coming in as a first year team, I think it was like some stat like we were the first team to reach like double digit points or something like that in our league that we were playing in. The first year team to do it. So I mean, that's obviously something we should be happy about. But I mean, a first round exit is not something we wanted to do. So we definitely came a long way from the beginning of the year, being a bunch of kids who most of us didn't really play with each other, didn't know each other, and then having one of our better players get injured during the summer. I mean, it was not the start we wanted, but I mean, we grew as teammates and as individual players and as people throughout the year, and definitely learned a lot about the game. And none of us have never played at that high level we played at before, so it was all new to us in every different aspect of it. But I'm proud of where we got to and what we accomplished, but there's obviously room for improvement.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, especially first year. These young men that are coming into the program this year are actually going to be more advanced because they have you guys as leaders that have been there prior, and you can help them go through some of the stuff that you had to go through to figure out.
Yeah. And it's not just hockey too, it's school.
Right. Talk about that a little bit.
I mean, I've been on here a couple of times and I've always said it, that the procrastination for me was the biggest mistake that I could have made. So, like, that's something I needed, you know, to keep them on about. And especially next year, we're getting a tutor, which is very helpful for all of us.
Yeah, I was gonna, go ahead, keep talking about
So, I mean, Miss Montillo I think is going to be our tutor next year, and she's wonderful. She's great. So, it's definitely helpful for all of us. But on the hockey standpoint, the kids that we're coming in are kids that will benefit us, and you know they're great players, and they're going to help us, you know, win some hockey games and you know put points on the board and stuff. But I mean, losing like a guy like Alex is going to be tough.
Alex, by the way,
yeah.
Alex graduated and he's moving on, but yeah, definitely a top-notch defenseman.
Yeah, and our best player, help carry our offense for the entire season. We're gonna miss a player that came on the ice, so losing him is definitely something that's gonna suck. But the kids coming in is gonna hopefully should make up for that.
And then some of you guys that have played and got your feet wet last year will be able to hopefully produce better energy, and you guys should have a deeper bench than we had last year too. So we'll have a few more players. I'm hoping and I'm thinking we're going to be up around
20, I think it said 18, 20.
18 to 20, and we were at like 10 and 2 goalies last year.
Oh, I think we were at 15 at the beginning of the year, and then Max got injured.
So they're down to 14.
One of our goalies didn't make grades the year prior, so he couldn't play for the first semester. And then
You lost somebody to grades.
we lost another kid to grades, a
defenseman,
defenseman, one of our seniors. We lost him to grades, and he didn't play half of the year. And then to the second half of the year, we lost our starting goalie, so our other goalie had to step up, and we only had one goalie, so I think we finished with like 13 players or something like that, or 12 players, or 11 and one goalie.
Yeah, so
Wow.
by the time of the third period, and I know, Coach, if you're listening, you're going to say that's not an excuse, and it isn't, but when you're playing 18-year-olds basically, and you're pretty much a 14, 15-year-old team age-wise, by the third period, you're pretty much gassed, and that's when I thought the majority of the games that you didn't lose by 1 or 2 goals came apart in the third. So just talk about that a little bit.
That was definitely a big problem for us. I'm not saying it was an excuse for having such a sore bench, but being such a sore bench, we would have intermissions in between the second and third. So coming out of it, we'd be it was just a reoccurring thing that happened. Is we'd come out of the break, and then we would just be we'd lose it.
Done.
Yeah, we'd I'm sure we discussed about it a lot in the locker room and as a team, but it was just something that just kept happening, and it happened in in our playoff game. We came out of the locker room, and the energy wasn't the same. We started the first we started the game coming out of the locker room. We were all jumping, we were all excited, we were all ready to go, and then coming out of the locker room for the third period, it was just you could tell the energy wasn't there. So
Yeah, and it's tough, and like I said, this year should be a little bit different, so that means you'll get less ice time, but maybe better quality ice time when you're out there, because it's going to be a shorter shift, and you can get off and get some wind in your lungs and go back out and attack it again.
Yeah.
So, that being said, do we know a few names of the kids that are coming for sure?
yeah,
And you're going to have 2 roommates this year.
yeah.
And you know their names?
Sharpie, that's what I refer to him as, Sharpie, and then we have Boris. I forgot I said it, Gergoskovich or something like that.
Yeah. That's close enough.
Yeah, same. Yeah, Sharpie's a defenseman. You're older than me.
What's his name though? I know it's his
I
name.
think James Sharpie.
Yeah.
I met him for the first time. Was it like 2 days ago? 3 days ago? When was our party? Our meeting?
Sunday.
Sunday, yeah.
Sunday, yeah.
So I met him for the first time, and then he seems like he's gonna be a nice player to have. I was on the ice with him, so he seems like he's a pretty good player. Boris I've known forever. He's a goalie. He's kind of a energetic kid, so that's gonna be fun to have him around the house. And he keeps bragging to me about how he has all honor classes and stuff. So I'm sure I'm gonna have him do a couple of my homework assignments. I've already discussed that with him, and he's okay with it. So
Keep him busy, right?
yeah. So
Well-
yeah, and then the other kids, we have Bobby Bird coming in who practiced with us the entire year. He's a good player. Can score. Brings a lot of offense. Sean McGurty, who is another player just like Bobby. Just brings a lot of offense and has a lot of skill. And then Jonathan Gunn, who I've never seen him play, but teammates have told me that he's huge and he's a tank. So
And he's a defenseman.
defenseman. So he's gonna be like another Clayton out there. That's what they told me,
Yeah.
which is good. So, and then I'm sure obviously we have other players. AJ Escalante,
Yeah.
He's another defenseman in '05, and he's pretty good. I've seen him develop as a player throughout the years, and he's.
And how about Jimmy's boy?
Oh yeah, Jimmy Albert, another defenseman. He's more of the physical type of guy. He likes to play the body a lot, and so I mean, the kids coming in are gonna be helpful a lot. And I'm sure we have other kids coming in, but I don't know who they are at the moment. So
That's good that we're getting that's where you have to build teams from the bottom up. Yes, we'd like to get a few more juniors in there and a senior or two if we can find them in the off season here. But you have to keep building teams from the bottom up. Your nucleus of kids. Now you can pluck in a few here and there, older kids, but to keep the mission going, we're heading in the right direction. Hopefully next year, now we're talking about the 2020-21 season, so I'm out there a little bit, but hopefully we will have two teams, a varsity team and a junior varsity team. That's our goal. That would be year 3, and the 5-year plan is to have the 2 men's teams or boys teams and then 1 all-girls team. So we're heading in the right direction with recruiting and such. I know Coach is going to take a look at some kids while you guys are down south this weekend, and we keep it moving that way. I do have a list of your Monday through Friday stuff with the school schedule is Monday 8:15 to 2:30, and then Tuesday is 8:15 to 2, Wednesday 8:15 2:30, Thursday 8:15 2:30, and then Friday is 8:15 1:30. But that's your actual academic part. Now the hockey part would be on Mondays. You'll have a study hall from 6:30 to 8. So we didn't have that last year, and I think that would have helped a lot of you guys get out of the funk early and realize you have a lot of stuff to do. Then you'll have ice from 3:30 to 4:45, and then I believe you go back to the school for weights from 5:15 to 6:15. So that's a pretty full day, plus doing homework at night.
yeah,
Hopefully the study hall will help you do some of that homework. Tuesday you have a 3:20 to 4:30 game practice slot. Then you have study hall from 5 to 6. Wednesday these are the killer days. 6:30 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. on the ice. Study hall is 3 to 5 right after school, and then you go from there to weights from 5:15 to 6:15. Now Thursday. Wait a minute. Thursday.
I think Thursday's the study hall where the kids would
Right.
have a
The
3.0
below
or lower.
below
3.0.
3.0 will have a study hall from 6:30 to 8 a.m. And then you have ice that day from 3:20 to 4:30. Friday, early again on the ice, 6:30 to 7:30 a.m. And then you have weights after that from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. So you're kind of used to that. That's pretty much the same schedule you had this year, other than no study hall. So the young kids, the young new people coming in are going to also have that. And hopefully with all the people coming back, the leadership there will be there for them. And then talk about your first experience on the road when you went to Minnesota, and then how you guys figured it out by the end of the year when you started traveling out of state.
So the first was kind of like, I would say like a test run, I guess you could say. We're all figuring each other out and what each other's habits were, and, you know, like what to do and stuff. And then by the end of the year, it was kind of just like a machine. Like we knew when we had to be down there for the bus. We knew like we always had to be 5 to 10 minutes early before Coach said anything. So, you know, that was definitely just something that just like was just like, all right, time to go down, time for study hall, time for all of that. So it was just kind of just like a machine at the end of the year, as opposed where we were kind of just a mess the first trip.
Yeah, and you guys figured it out. I remember I was on that first trip to Minnesota with you, and I'll never forget when he walked up to me, and we're in the airport and about ready to leave. We're checking in, or I believe we were checking in, and you walked up to me and said, "Pop, I left my wallet in the hotel." And what did I tell you? I said, "You better get on that horn, call somebody over there, let them find it and mail it to you. Otherwise, you got big issues. So
Yeah.
you learned a lot. I know personally that you were a little bit more attentive to your stuff because you didn't have the lady sitting next to you telling you what to do, or your mom, hey, Anthony, did you get this? Did you get that?
Yeah, I was a defend for myself, which
Yeah.
was hard the first time.
So, want to go over the schedule for next year. We open up on September 14th, 15 against Bellarmine, which is out of San Jose, and it's a home and home series. We'll play them there once and here once. And then 2 weeks after that, September 28th and 9th, we do the same thing with Lake Tahoe Academy. We're up there and then back here, or however it's going to work, but it's home and home. And then October 11th is already the end of the first quarter of school.
Yeah.
Holy
This
buckets.
this schedule is definitely more busy than last year's because we're playing. I think at least 10 more games. I think what are we at, like 44 right now? I think.
Yeah, I
think-
haven't counted.
And then something that Coach talked about at the meeting on Sunday was we might have another home game for cancer awareness
Oh, that'd be cool.
at their big arena.
Oh, at the Stockton Arena.
There's he brought up something that we're gonna have like a cancer awareness game, and that's definitely gonna be a big it's gonna mean something for Coach
Right.
being a cancer survivor, and then obviously
To our family.
to us, to me, and to us with Mateo being a cancer survivor. So
Yeah.
I feel like that'd be a pretty cool experience. Coach brought it up. I'm not sure if it's set in stone yet, but he
Well, that's
said,
something to look forward to. I think that's
yeah,
cool.
I feel like something that'd be very beneficial for all of us.
And then the October 11th and 12th is your first Anaheim Duck weekend. You got a 3-game series probably down there. And then the 18th and 20th, you do the NA prep thing again back in Minnesota. So you got a busy, it's pretty busy, like you said, that year. And then
We go to Minnesota, but 4 times?
three or four
Yeah,
times.
4 times.
November 1st and 2nd, you're back down in Anaheim. November 10th and 11th, you're playing home and home. So it's Anaheim Duck League, so you'll be playing Tahoe here and there, but it'll be under your Duck schedule. You'll play the 15th and 16th of November in Anaheim or up here because they can't play at both rinks
Yeah.
now. And then 23rd and 4th, Bellarmine again, but it's a Duck weekend. It's not a exhibition. Then December 7th and 8th, you're in Anaheim again. Then December 20th and 21st, it's a Duck League weekend. And then the 3rd and 4th of January, you're in San Jose, probably for Ducks League. And then you're back in Minnesota on the 17th and 20th of January. Then, in the end of January 31st through February 2nd, you'll be in Colorado for the Colorado Springs group. Valentine's Day weekend, you'll be in Detroit, Michigan for the NAPA. What we got? 29th and March 1st will be exhibition game, home and home, so it'll probably be either Tahoe or Bellarmine. And then in March, you have the playoffs in the Duck League. And then finally, you'll be back in Shattuck, St. Mary's, which is in Minnesota, on March 21st and 22nd. Now, something that a lot of people don't realize that St. Mary's has acquired a bus to haul you guys around instead of the vans.
A
It's
nice bus.
a pretty nice bus. It'll be a little better.
It's like Mr. Lichter said, it's like 25-person
It's
bus.
a 25-person
And then he
bus.
said, well, probably going to be more like a 21.
Probably, 19 to 20, because the back, there's 5 seats in the back, on the very back of the bus, and those probably will not be able to use for
Bags,
players, but
equipments.
they'll be bagging equipment back
So
there.
yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be an upgrade from the vans,
Yeah.
just because sometimes we would have to cuddle with each other to go to sleep.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is more definitely more spacious.
Yeah,
and we
each seat reclines too.
could,
in
yeah,
this.
we could have
Nice.
our own like stuff that we
Your
do
own
our homework,
space,
our own space instead
Yeah.
of all up,
Cramped up
yeah,
together.
cramped up. Yeah.
So yeah, moving forward, I think that's going to be good. Your grandmother's going to be doing all the flights for between Ginger and your grandmother. They'll be doing flights for all you guys. Try to get as many non-stops so that you're not up and down in the air. You just get up, go, get there, and go play hockey. So we're looking forward to some new wrinkles this year. Some of the stuff that we encountered last year, we're trying to improve on for you guys and for the program, so it moves, and we're moving in the right direction. So let's move on to the NHL. I know there's a lot of Shark fans that are here in this area. They played well. In fact, of course, I'm not a Shark fan. I have the Penguins, which went out really early in the thing. So, people ask me at work, and not that I'm an expert on it by any stretch of the imagination, but I've watched a lot of hockey throughout my life, and they'd ask me. And you can chime in on this too, Dustin, about the Sharks. They played well. And I got to tell you, Martin Jones played a lot better than he did in the regular season. I told the people that knew me, I said that's probably going to be their Achilles heel. He did let in the regular season. He let in my estimation, a lot of soft goals. There's Shark fans that I know that would agree with me, probably some that wouldn't. So then we go through it, and then I started thinking they were a destined team because the major penalty that was called in the seventh game,
round one, yeah.
Round one, they were losing that game. They were flat. It sparked that team, and whether you think it's a penalty or not, we can discuss that all day long. When I saw it, I didn't think it was a flagrant penalty. However, the result was very devastating. I don't wish that injury on anybody. He was bleeding profusely. But I've talked to a lot of guys that have played hockey, not maybe at that level, but the level right under AHL guys. And again, don't be sending me text messages or whatever, but they said that Pavelski was so out of it that he just stood up. And you're told, as the other center, if a guy just stands up in front of you, you knock him down because he just possessed the puck. And that's basically what happened there. Yes, the hit came up.
He's got to go through him.
And then the other player was trying to get to the puck, and he's not watching this guy wobbling, and he finished him off. And like I said, it was devastating. Dustin and I kind of talked before we went on the air, but I never thought it was a major penalty. I thought it could have been a 4-minute double minor, which the difference is that they would score a goal. The penalty would have been reduced back to 2 minutes. They would have scored another goal, and then they would have been even strength. They were not going to be without somebody for 5 minutes. However, I do got to say, scoring 4 goals in 5 minutes, and I don't care what the circumstances were, was awesome. I mean, that you couldn't have scripted that game any better. What did you think, Dustin?
I thought that was awesome and stuff like that, but I still think it wasn't a penalty. I think the Knights should have won that game, to be honest. But as you said, they called the penalty, then the Marc-Andre Fleury gave up all those goals right away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you think, Ant?
I mean, as a Shark non-fan, I always said it wasn't a penalty, but I mean it's Game 7, and like you can't just stand up and after winning.
He even said later this was, I think during the last series prior. Well, this was the second.
No, this is the third round.
Okay, they. That's right. They played Colorado, right? Yeah, during that Colorado season, even Pavelski said he didn't think it was a major penalty. Even after, and he was the one that got hit and injured, but it was a turning point. And then in this series,
they lose.
We have Mr. Bryant, if you're listening, you thought it hit the shin guard of
the hand pass.
The hand pass hit the shin guard of
Meyer.
Yeah,
it was the puck kind of popped up, and Meyer was sliding on his knees, and he kind of batted at the puck, and from what every camera angle I saw, it looked like he hand passed it to Carlson, who scored the overtime winner. But there's like a lot of people say that it hand passed. He hit it with his hand and then hit his shin pad, which then went over to.
Right.
Which I don't know why it wouldn't be a hand pass. He still hit it with his hand.
Right.
But
Because it would be like him playing the puck with a stick.
Yeah.
In other words, you catch a puck, you put it down, you can handle the puck. You can't give it to a teammate to handle.
Yeah. But
And that's what the shin thing was. And it may or may not have hit it. It doesn't matter. The
It's
referees,
over now, yeah.
referees didn't call it, but let's face it, the Blues were a faster team and they were more physical. And I think that's more East Coast hockey than West Coast hockey. The physicality and the Stanley Cups, which start Monday, are going to be that much tougher
that's
because
gonna be a good series.
Boston's a physical team as well. They have a lot of skilled players on there as well, but it should be a pretty good series.
Yeah, it kind of fits their head coach's theme. Craig Berube used to be part of that Broad Street Bullies in Philadelphia.
Right.
And since he took over for Mike Yeo, the team's been playing way better. Was it January 7th? They were the worst team in the AHL. Now they're 4 wins away from a Stanley Cup.
Yeah, it's a good job that the Berube
And they actually have St. Louis guys on that roster. Patrick Maroon, who's a native of St. Louis. There's actually great hockey in that community around St. Louis area.
Right.
Yeah.
He took apparently Maroon. He turned down a more higher paying contract so he could be closer to home and closer to his son.
That's pretty cool.
Which is
Yeah, so it's going to be, and okay, Nana, we're going to ask you the question. We gave you the answer earlier.
Oh,
When was the last time the St. Louis Blues were in the playoffs?
I believe
Or
it
Stanley
was,
Cup final.
Stanley Cup Finals.
was
in
it
the finals.
like 49 years
Yeah.
ago?
Oh, right on the nose.
Oh,
right.
boy.
How about that, Dustin?
Oh boy.
1970, the Scotty Bowman curse.
Yeah.
You know that, right? You've heard of that, right?
I knew they were in it, but no, tell us
Scotty
about
Bowman, the legendary coach for
Yeah.
Montreal Canadiens, 1 year with Pittsburgh, then those years in Detroit, and then he was an advisor with the Chicago Blackhawks. But he was fired from, I believe he was fired, let go, or left the St. Louis Blues in 1970, and ever since then, they've never made it back to the Stanley Cup. And he was head coaches in 1960s. They were expansion team. They went to 3 Stanley Cups in a row.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, so there you go. That's something I didn't know.
I didn't know that either.
The
So
Scotty Bowman curse.
it's yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
I think Boston's gonna win it personally. I think they're gonna win it in I'm gonna say 6 games. Just because Boston is who did they beat? I think they beat Toronto. They beat
They beat Tampa Bay or no?
no, they didn't beat that. They beat Carolina. So they're a deep team and they're gritty and they're obviously
Yeah,
really
and
good.
they have a rat on that team, Mr. Marchand.
Yeah, Marchand.
He
They-
likes to
stir it up.
get in people's kitchens, and then he tries to back away, but he will fight if
Yeah,
pushed.
I mean, Marchand's one of those guys you'd love to have on your team, but you'd hate to play against.
Yeah,
So
yeah. It's going to be a fun series. It starts Monday, 5 o'clock our time. I believe they start in Boston,
yeah, Boston.
so it'll be 2-2, and then 2-2, and then
No, I think it's 2-2, 1-1, and then they switch off.
no,
after
it
that.
has to be 2 and 1 and 2 and the other.
Yeah. 2.
and then 1-1-1.
Yeah, then 1-1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you hockey enthusiasts out there, stay tuned because I think we're going to have a good one this year. 2 good teams. The sentimental flavor would be St. Louis only because they haven't won it. They've never won it. Last time they were in the finals, like Dustin just said, was 1970. So, and from where they came from, like Dustin said earlier, they were one of the worst teams. I don't know.
Like January.
for-
Yeah, they
in
were like
January.
last.
Yeah, they were last place.
Yeah, head
until-
coaching change. And all
Yeah,
that,
and then Berube came and turned that team around, and they're playing well for him, and they're playing well as a unit.
And Bennington.
Bennington, there's a rookie.
Yeah, Bennington was a big part of their success because he
Yeah.
got called up and then he's
And the funny thing is, he was a loan to the AHL team that was owns it's affiliate with the Boston Bruins, the Providence Bruins,
Oh,
and
I
he played a
didn't know
game.
that.
He played a game for them this year, a couple games.
Well, how about that? He was on loan from the Blues farm team or the AHL team to the Providence Bears, which is the AHL team of the Bruins, and played 1 game for him. So it's kind of like
Yeah, he's a big part of that. He's one of the main reasons why they're in the cup. He's just
Yeah, he's played spot on. I
yeah,
mean,
he's,
yeah, it's been fun.
seems like his only focus is stopping pucks. Like
Right,
nothing
and
else.
that-
He's
well-
not worried about anything else. Just stopping. Just
like Coach says, what a goaltender's supposed to do? Stop pucks.
yeah, and that's all he's doing.
Yeah.
He's the backbone. I mean, him getting called up, and then I think he won like his first like 10 games, something like that.
Yeah,
Like he's just been lights out as a rookie, and
yeah.
a Calder finalist, which is rookie of the year, and then so. I mean, if the Blues win the cup, I wouldn't be surprised if he's MVP of the Stanley Cup playoffs. But I mean,
Rask is playing pretty well himself.
both goalies are going into the final, looking
Yeah,
Well,
both teams looking good. It's
gonna
just
be,
going to be
the defense.
who turns the puck over and does the right things with the puck.
Yeah. So
You know
And-
about the theme song Gloria, right?
Uh-uh.
So after every win, they play the song Gloria, the 1980s hit. And before their losing streak in Philadelphia, on like January 6th, they were at some private club and they introduced some of the St. Louis players to the song. And when they got back to St. Louis, they told the DJ of the Blues to start playing that song after they win, and they've been winning ever since. So they play the song after every win.
And
Oh,
who sang that song?
Laura Brannigan. Yeah.
Laura Branigan, Gloria.
Yeah.
And I think who was Brown's girlfriend, the singer, Governor Brown's girlfriend? I think she
Linda-
played-
Linda Brown-
Ronstadt. Yes, I think she
Yeah.
also. That may have not been her song
Yeah.
originally, but she sang it as well. So a little bit of tidbit of information you get at this fine show. We're going to probably go off the air a little bit early tonight because we are in the off season and scratching around to get stuff so that we're kind of current and on point. Sometimes it's hard to do. That's why we cut it back to once a month. But our Chase Car guys will be here in 2 weeks with Mr. Roy Morales. We're going to talk about customer care. So that's going to be our topic that night, and how to take care of customers, and why Chase has probably a 70 to 80%.
customer satisfaction.
No, they're probably a little higher than
Re-
that there, but
repeat
repeat and
customers.
referral customers. That's why I believe that dealership is pretty consistent on their numbers and trying to get back to where they were. It's going to be a long haul because after '08, the whole business turned upside down. But I also want to give a shout out because we're coming very close. That I've listened to this. Help me out. Okay, Lions 4A1 All-Star Classic, the football. Roy's been on this. It seems like forever, but it's probably been the last 3 or 4 months. It comes to fruition on June 15th at Lincoln High School at the Spanos football stadium there. It's going to be a big crowd. I mean, we're shooting for 3,500 to 4,000 people. Roy has been the spearhead of this thing. He's actually annoyed me several times, but he's really on this thing, and he's doing a heck of a job. I don't like to give him too much because, it's hard to live with him sometimes when you give him too much praise. But he's been out there every day. He's raised a lot of money to get this thing back to Stockton. So the people that are in the sports area, June 15th, I believe the game's at 6 o'clock. We'll give you more information as we're getting a little bit closer, but come out and support it. These are high school kids that are all-stars. They're seniors. They're moving on in their careers to junior or D1 colleges.
Where do you get the tickets at?
I'll get a hold of Roy Morales and get him involved with you. I
No,
don't.
I think he said that the tickets are purchased there at Lincoln.
Right. That, and I'm sure we'll have some prior. So get a hold of me or Roy at Chase Chevrolet, 475-6600 on your radio dial. Give us a call and we'll get you hooked up to the right spot. Rick or Roy at ChaseChevrolet.com. One or the other, not both names, at Chase Chevrolet. Rick at Chase Chevrolet, Roy at ChaseChevrolet.com. Email us. We will get you whatever information you're looking for. game's going to be big. We're glad to have it back in Stockton. It took a lot of effort to get it back here because of the UOP situation. The last time it was held was at Stag Stadium at UOP, which doesn't even exist anymore. The stadium is gone. And then they moved it to Tracy, which did a very good job. But Chase Chevrolet wanted it back, put in a lot of money and a lot of effort, and Roy also, with their backing, got the game to come back here. So we need to have a big turnout for that game and support these young men that are moving on to colleges. Should be a fun time out there. We're going to introduce some of the alumni, some of the guys that are, I know one guy played, I believe, in the Super Bowl and went to the 49ers. There's a bunch of guys that back in the late 70s, early 80s that played in this game. It'll be a fun time out there again. There's some cheerleading groups that are going to be out there and bands. I think we got the Chavez band coming, Roy. You should be here to promote your own thing, but we're doing the best we can on the come. So again, that's June 15th. This show will be back on in, let's see, we got the car show on the 9th of June, and then 14 days after that would be the
23rd.
23rd. We'll be back here with Rams hockey. I think we'll be more in tune as to our final rosters for the year, where we're moving forward. We'd like to, again, thank everybody that came to the show on the spur of the moment, because I was not going to do this for another hour just by myself. I'm bored. I would be bored and you would be bored with me. But some great input by Anthony, a player that's in the making at St. Mary's. And we had him because obviously he's here and everybody else is getting done with their finals and going home. So we appreciate you coming. I thank my wife for coming. She puts up with me 365 days a year. I don't know why, and she doesn't either, so don't ask her. But we've made it through and watched this young man develop along with a lot of his friends. So it's a fun time at St. Mary's. They're moving forward. They're excited about this program, and we're heading towards year 2. We'll see you back here on the 23rd. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Excuse me, I'm getting over a head cold, so we'll see you in 2 weeks as the Chase Car Guys. Roy and I will be back. We appreciate everybody tuning in, listening. The voice of San Joaquin right here in beautiful downtown Stockton on a Miracle Mile, Bedford, and Pacific Avenue. I want to say thanks again to everybody out there for listening. We'll see you in a little while. And like I always end, Anthony, give us the ending. You do it.
I can't do it.
Keep your skates on the ice
and
and reach for the stars. Good night, everybody. Thank you.